We're a group of researchers from Sheffield. We met together at S3 Allcomers, which is a place where people with a learning disability can come and socialise and learn subjects like Spanish and drama. We all have different skills and experiences that we brought to the research project. We've done some research about what makes people with a learning disability happy and satisfied with their lives. It's important that people who cannot read can also find out about research, so we decided to make this film to go with the report we have written. Other people have done research about what makes people with a learning disability happy and satisfied with their lives, which they call subjective well-being. This research suggests that things like being treated with dignity, having a job, having enough money, good social support, feeling good about yourself, and being able to make choices are important. There is still not enough research to be sure what things make people happy and satisfied, and there might be other things that are important too. None of the people that have done research about this have interviewed people with a learning disability. We wanted to talk to people who say they are very happy about what things help them feel like this. We went to different places where people with a learning disability go during the day in Sheffield and Barnsley.
We thought carefully about how to keep people safe in our research and made sure all the information was given in a way people could understand. We made an information sheet and people signed a consent form to say they wanted to take part. We interviewed 23 people who said they were happy and satisfied. About half the people we talked to were men and half were women. They were aged between 23 and 67 and all were white British. We made sure we asked questions one at a time so the people we interviewed had time to think. We asked further questions if we needed to ask more about something or check we had understood what the person had said. We asked people questions about how they felt about their lives, the things that are important to them or make them feel happy and satisfied, and anything they would like to change, including wishes for the future. Once we had interviewed people, we also did a questionnaire called the Personal Wellbeing Index that is designed to be used with people with a learning disability. This questionnaire has been used by researchers before, who reported that the people they spoke to scored around 77 out of 100. 20 of the people we spoke to scored over 77, so we included them in our analysis. We needed to find a way of summing up and reporting what people had said. This is called analysis. We used a type of analysis called thematic analysis. We did all the analysis together in a group. The first thing we did was read the interviews out loud to remind us what people had said. We put flip chart paper on the wall and put each thing the person said under categories. For example, if someone talked about their friends, we put what they said under the category friends. We cut out the categories and moved them around to see which ones went together to make bigger categories, which we called themes. For example, we put the category friends under the bigger theme of relationships. We wanted to make sure that our results were trustworthy, so we used some of the procedures that a researcher called Stiles wrote about in 2003. We kept changing our themes to make sure they reflected what we were told and agreed on the themes as a group. We got another researcher, who wasn't involved in the project, to check the themes too. We shared our themes with some of the people we interviewed to make sure they agreed with them.
The people we spoke to talk about lots of things that are important to them to be happy and satisfied with their lives. We put these things into 3 themes: environmental factors, enabling and disabling, and personal characteristics. The first theme was called environmental factors. People talked about how important it is to have some independence from their parents or the people that support them, and to be able to make choices in their lives. Some of the choices people talked about were where they live, who they live with, where they go during the day and at night, and how they manage difficult feelings like sadness and anger. For example, Margaret talked about moving out from her parents' home to live with her friends. She said that moving out made it easier to see her friends and her boyfriend and made her very happy. People also talked about having hope for greater independence in the future and the skills they were learning to help them achieve this. These were skills like making hot drinks, cooking and travelling on buses and trains by themselves. Lots of people talked about how important it is to have somewhere to go and someone to go with. People talked about going to lots of different places, like day centres, drop-ins, shopping in different towns, pubs and karaoke bars, and people talked about meeting friends and boyfriends and girlfriends at these places. Jason talked about seeing his friend and girlfriend at his day centre, and said that when he can't go because of ice and snow, he feels very bored and lonely when he is at home.
As well as going to places for people with a learning disability, lots of people talked about the places they go in the community where they live. Keith talked about supporting Barnsley Football Club. He had been a supporter for a long time and talked about making a friend at football who he sat with every week. People also talked about having lots to do when they are at home, like jigsaws, watching DVDs, listening to music and playing on the computer. They talked about being able to do these things without help from their family or staff. Some people told us about having valuable roles, which means having a job or something that you do that is important to you or to other people. This could be a role in the home, like being the one to take out the wheelie bin, or a role that you do outside the home, like volunteering or working as a cleaner or a cook. Harry told us he felt brilliant about being the president of the student forum. That meant listening to the views of other students at the day centre he went to and telling the staff what people want. He said it is important to do things you are good at because it makes you feel happy. People also told us how important it is to have good relationships in their lives. These relationships might be with friends, a girlfriend or boyfriend, staff or family. Julie told us that her relationship with her boyfriend made her feel happy, excited and joyful. She said it is really important to have someone that she feels close to and that she can talk to privately. Some people told us it is important to have good relationships with staff, but it can be difficult when these relationships end because a member of staff leaves or a service is closed.
The second theme is about the things that enable people to feel happy and satisfied with their lives, and the things that disable them. People talked about staff and family and the boundaries they face. They told us how staff help them get out and about, how they help them manage difficult situations, and how they provide support and care. People said it's important to have staff that are flexible and can help them to access all the things we talked about earlier in this film, like activities and relationships. Lots of people talked about having good staff that help them live the lives they want to live. Some people shared how difficult it is when there's not enough staff and this stops them going out or doing things like going on holiday. Richard told us he couldn't go on holiday because staff couldn't take him. He said this makes him feel hurt, though he can understand that it's sometimes difficult for staff to take people away. He said he feels miserable when he asks to go out but staff turn him down. People said staff help them manage difficult situations like having arguments with other people, having fears like being afraid of thunderstorms and when kids play football outside. People said it's really important to have a member of staff you can get on with to talk to when things like this happen, and lots of people said they felt staff listened and were helpful. People also said that staff supported and cared for them. Philip told us that staff looked after him when he was ill, would help him make appointments with the doctor and would call an ambulance if he needed it. He said knowing staff were there to care for him was really important. People also talked about the importance of feeling like you belong to your family. They said that their family also helped them get out and about and offers support and care. Stacey talked about having a big family who she sees very often. She said it's important to her that they all have the same name as her. They also said that sometimes it's hard to get support to make life choices like getting married.
Lots of the people said that they needed transport to get out and about, and that sometimes not having transport meant they had to stay in. Carol told us that she would like to do things in the evening, but her dad works as a taxi driver, so he's not always able to take her. Carol talked about transport as a boundary, which limits the things she can do. Carol said it feels like punishment when she can't go out. Another thing people felt was a boundary was finance. Some people said they did not have enough money to do the things they wanted to do. Daniel said he really wants to go on holiday, but he has to save up money first. Daniel said going on holiday is expensive because you have to pay for staff to go with you to support you. This means he cannot afford to go on holiday very often. One person told us that having a physical disability felt like a boundary, which stopped her from getting married and living independently.
The third theme we identified was personal characteristics. These are things about the person that make them feel happy and satisfied with their lives. This could be things like looking on the bright side of life or having ways to manage difficult emotions like sadness or anger. Lots of people told us they felt content with their lives. Some people also talked about accepting that there were some things they couldn't change. People said that even though they would like to change some things, they still felt happy and satisfied with their lives. Charlene talked about looking on the bright side of life, which means thinking about the things that she's happy with in her life instead of the things that make her feel sad. She said that sometimes she wishes she could go out more, but that she's happy with the freedom that she does have. People said that things like singing, music and reading helped them to feel calm if they were angry or took their mind off things if they felt sad. The things this study found out may be helpful to lots of different people that want to help people with a learning disability lead happy, fulfilling lives. This may be the people that write reports and policy, people that design services, and people that provide support and care. The themes people told us about might also be useful to researchers who are developing questionnaires to measure how happy and satisfied people with a learning disability are with their lives.
We think people with a learning disability should have places to socialise and meet friends and romantic partners, and should be supported to have roles that are valuable to them and to others. This might be paid employment, volunteering roles, or roles in the day service they access. This may also include having valuable roles in the home. The staff and family that support people with a learning disability should enable them to access activities and help them make choices in their lives. Some of the people we spoke to told us that having plenty of staff is important because they can't go out if there is not enough staff to take them. People with a learning disability should also be supported to develop ways to manage difficult situations. Lots of people we spoke to told us they don't have enough money to do the things they want to do. Other people told us they don't have access to transport. We have shown that people with a learning disability can talk about the things that are important in their lives. More research should be done with people with a learning disability of different ages, from different backgrounds, and with people who don't access day services.
We've learned lots of things whilst doing this research. We really enjoyed working as part of a team, and we think it's really important for people with and without a learning disability to work together in research. It's important to have someone who knows about research to keep things on track, but it's also important to remember that research belongs to everyone and that people have different skills but equal value. We think it's important to use plain English in research, but this is not always easy. Sometimes it's hard to write research in a way that makes sense and is useful to everybody. This is why we decided to make a film as well as a report. That way people don't have to read at all if they don't want to. The most important thing is to build good relationships with the people you're researching with. Research can be boring and hard work sometimes, and being able to have a laugh and a joke makes it really enjoyable.